Hi everybody, Ingrid here. Today I'm going to be launching my series on colors in the Bible, and I started working on this early 2025, but I couldn't release it. I had some material ready, but there's just been this constant push and pull because I didn't want to release this as some average content. And because we're talking about colors in the Bible, I feel like I needed more time and I needed to pursue this with much more preparation and intention. Fun fact, I did go to seminary. I took up biblical studies, but I didn't finish my program. So part of my program, I had biblical Hebrew, hermeneutics and theological reflection, theology, and writing academic papers among my other subjects. With that background, the discipline instilled in me in the seminary of going beyond the text that you read and considering the background of the writer, the historical context, what was the culture like, and of course, what was the meaning of the original text, not the translated text. So that was just so hard to put off as I was preparing this series. I can also say that the Lord has met me in such an amazing personal way as I've been working on this series, and it's really true that He can meet you wherever you are. This type of content may pique the interest of some people. Understandably, some will find this boring, but my intent for this is that if my life were to end, I want to leave behind color content that will lead people to see the realness of the Lord. So now, let's get started with the color blue. Did you know that in the Bible, there's a specific blue that was commanded, and for centuries, no one knew how to make it? Tekhelet is the ancient biblical blue mentioned in Exodus and Numbers. It wasn't just decorative. God commanded it for the garments of the high priest, the ritual fringes of the Israelites, and the interior tapestries of the tabernacle. Back then, blue was a very hard color to produce. The dye had to come from a rare Mediterranean sea snail, making it extremely valuable and costly. The original process of producing the Tekhelet dye ceased after the destruction of the Second Temple because the Roman Empire restricted the use of the dyes to the governing classes. And so, the process of producing the dye from the Mediterranean sea snails was not passed on to the younger generations. There were many people through centuries who have tried to rediscover how Tekhelet was produced. In the early 20th century, Rabbi Yitzhak Herzog, a brilliant scholar and later chief rabbi of Israel, began research on the Tekhelet for his doctoral dissertation. Using chemistry, zoology, archaeology, linguistics, and rabbinic texts, he concluded that Tekhelet must come from a marine creature, and the most likely candidates were murex sea snails. Decades later, Rabbi Eliyahu Tavger built on the available research and took it further. Using ancient methods, he produced a Tekhelet dye from Murex trunculus and began wearing it again. What was the purpose of the Tekhelet? The Tekhelet thread was meant to remind God's people of His commandments. Ancient tradition even says that it reflected the sea, the sky, and the throne of God. So the next time that you see blue, may you be reminded that while it's a color that we see a lot in nature, it wasn't an easy color to reproduce. Think about that when you look at the sea, the sky, and even animals that have the color blue in them. God is truly an artist who paints not just nature with beautiful colors, but us human beings too. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Colors in the Bible. I'll see you soon.